Hey everybody, it's Mrs. Mo and welcome to your edition of What is the Work for ELA this week? First of all, any work that we assign this week is due on Monday, the 13th. That's a week from today at 8:30 in the morning. There will not be anything else assigned this week other than what I'm going over with you right now. Your first assignment is your major assignment, and that is called a one-pager. And that is going to be based on your second novel in verse. We're also holding 2 Zoom calls this week. There will be one on Monday, that's today, the 6th, at 2 p.m. for anyone in period 7 and 8. And we're holding a second one on Tuesday. So I will see you Tuesday if you're in periods 1, 4, or 5 at 1:30 p.m. And both links will be posted on Schoology. And the last thing that you'll be doing this week is a Newsella article that will be assigned to you on Wednesday. It will not appear in your binder on Newsella until Wednesday. So let's go over your major assignment, which is your one-pager. So what is a one-pager? So basically a one-pager is like the cover of a magazine. So you are going to be creating a one-page description filled with writing, symbols, images, creativity that will show a very in-depth understanding of the text. You're basically trying to use visuals and language to show your thoughts about the novel. You are going to be allowed to do this either digitally or on paper. Of course, if you select to do it on paper, then you will need to scan your work and share it, and this will actually show you how to do that. So you first will need to decide, am I going to do this digitally or am I going to do it on paper? So let's just look at a couple samples first. So here's one based on the novel Refugee by Alan Gratz. I know a ton of you read that book and loved it tremendously. Just noticing on here, there's a lot of written work, but there are also lots of images, symbols, a border around the edges. I could never draw like that, but I'm sure many of you can. Here's another one. And this one is based on Gordon Corman's book, Restart. I know a bunch of you also read that one. And this one looks, clearly very different. It also has images. It has quotes, if you see that in there. It has some symbols. It also has a lovely border. Then all of this is based on what the book's about. And the next one is actually a digital one-pager. So you notice there's a little, I guess you call that a GIF on the bottom, or a little video. You see there's some images on there. The person took advantage of using different fonts, different colors for certain words for them to stick out. You'll see over there where that like old-fashioned iPod is. The student used some author's craft, so describing what the purpose of that was. And this is also, of course, based on what the assignment was and what the student had to include. So with that being said, what do you need to include? So I first recommend that this particular slide, that you actually print this out. And this is slide number 7. Now, how do you print out a slide? Well, really simple. You'll just make sure the slide is highlighted like I have here. You'll go to File, and then you'll go to Print, or just Control P. It's going to generate a preview where technically you could print out the entire Google slide presentation, but that would be a big waste of ink and paper. So you're just going to select to print page 7 only. So you hit Custom and you choose 7. And this actual checklist can be printed out so that you can have it to check off as you're creating your one-pager. So let's go through what you need to include. So on your one-pager, you need to include, of course, the title and the author. You will need to include a border that includes either words or images, 4 of them, to represent some big issues in the novel. You'll need to have 3 significant quotes from the novel, 1 from the beginning, 1 from the middle, and 1 from the end, with brief explanations of why they're important. Character section to describe the traits of at least 2 characters with images and words. An author's craft section highlighting 2 examples of craft, writing style, structure, with explanations of why they're important or how they impact the text. You will need a section for the theme, just a theme statement, so a sentence showing the theme with an image to represent it. You'll need a section for a connection, and on that part, you'll need to explain how the novel connects with what's going on in the world, and a setting section using images and words to describe the setting. And finally, you will need a section for mood. I'm just fixing a typo there. So for the mood, a section where you can show 2 key moods, feelings of the reader throughout the novel, hopefully maybe showing 2 different types of moods. So that's what you'll need to include. Next, we have here what you can do if you're choosing to do a digital one-pager. So if you were to choose to do this digitally all on the computer, you'll select one of the templates, and all the templates are all back down here towards the end. Select one of those templates. You'll make a copy of it. So you do select File, then make a copy. And then you'll use text boxes in order to fill in the information. I'm going to show you that in a moment. Some really fun things that you can do in order to show the information that you're thinking about digitally. You could use memes, GIFs, bulleted lists, video clips, think about color choice and shadows, put in word art if you'd like. So there's a lot of fun things you can do if you do it digitally. If you do it on paper, all the artists out there, of course, make sure that your handwriting is at its absolute neatest, and that you think of it like museum quality work, like I say when we're in school. Make sure that you fill the page in its entirety. Don't leave any white space on the page. And you too can use one of these templates on here where you can just print out the template and do it by hand and then scan it and upload it to the assignment. Or if you want to, you can create your own. So you don't have to use a template. You can just use a blank piece of paper and do it however you would like. I did put in here, if you do happen to have an iPhone or an iPad, how you can go ahead really, really easily and scan anything. Actually, in the Notes app, it has the ability to scan documents. And there's also a video here you can watch if you want to on how to do that. If you have an Android device, you can actually download a really great app called Evernote Scannable, which is free and allows you to scan your work so that you can upload it as well. It's far more effective than just taking a picture with your camera, saving it, and emailing it. It's just scanning it makes everything clear. Over here we have a rubric. That's another thing you may want to print out. A few things just to point out on our rubric. It is worth 40 points, the one pager. Of course, that all falls into, did you have accurate information? Is it a deep understanding? Is everything well written? Are your images selected with effort? Does it look like you have varied choices throughout? Are the quotes that you chose showing a deep understanding of the novel? Did you use page numbers, make relevant connections? Is it neat and clear? All of that is going to count. So we have, following our rubric, all of the different types of templates that you can choose from. And it's entirely up to you what you'd want to do. So let's just say I were taking this particular template. So what I would do first is to go to File, make a copy, and then I'm going to rename this one pager, and maybe I'll put my name first, just using my daughter's name. Save it so that when I do upload it, it actually has the name on there. So I'm just going to copy that particular slide so that I'm working from my own. And let's see what I needed to include. So it says that I needed to include, if I go back to that page 7, where are we? Let's start with one thing. So characters, let's do that one. Right over here, I'm going to do the characters one. A section that describes the traits of at least 2 characters using images and words. So I'm going to start with this first box over here. I'm going to go to the T for text box. I'm going to create a text box that I could type directly into. And choose my favorite font for right now, and I'm going to start with the first character in my book, which is, her name is Elizabeth. Maybe I'll actually change that and call this the character section. So this is characters, Elizabeth. And it said, how many traits did I need to use? I needed 2 characters. It doesn't say how many traits, but just 2 characters. So I'm going to write down what she's like. She's definitely self-confident. Sorry, that's Scooter's leash. his collar that's shaking. She's Elizabeth is self-confident, but she's also very sneaky. And then we have Jordan, the other character, and he is, he is so belligerent. He's always trying to start an argument with someone, but at the same time, he is extremely determined to get what he wants. So I could add to that an image, perhaps. So I could just simply go to Google Images. And then I'm going to do just a little search here for belligerent. And, ooh, nice. I'm just going to copy that image and I'm going to put it onto my one-pager right over there. It's a little bit too big, so I can just make that smaller and put that in the corner over there. And just play around with this a little bit. Maybe do some bolding over here. You know, maybe over here, if I'm doing another text box, maybe I might try to go to Jiffy.com, and I might try to find a GIF to show the setting, perhaps, of the book, and I could paste that in there. So anyway, there are a lot of choices that you have. It may look kind of small over there, but if you make it bigger, see how different it looks. Kind of cool. So if you have any questions whatsoever, please do not hesitate to ask. Shoot us an email, send a message on Schoology. We're here to help you, and show up for the 2 p.m. Zoom call today if you're in period 7 and 8, so we can review this again. And I will see you on Zoom period 145 on Tuesday. Have a good one.